A classmate commented at the end of the Marfa film screening that this movie should go last in the video lineup on YouTube. I think it was because it was a nostalgic piece for us, and it focused on the memory of a weekend that showed us what it meant to be builders. Matt, Chris, and I took inspiration from what we imagined El Cosmico would be before we even got there, and that's what kept us excited throughout the design process. I think we created something of the desert, but also something that was sturdy, that was non-disposable, and completely transportable. It was also something that would last. For the Taylor project, I took what I liked from El Cosmico and ran with it. I wanted to use corrugated plastic with the Bolton CNC router as my critical elements because of a project I really like from Allison Gaskin's Design 2 studio. It was a project that was supposed to be about movement of golf balls, for those that remember, and it evolved to be more about an experience. One of the greatest things that I learned from Allison was that establishing givens for myself helped me move through my ideas, and I've used that lesson in this course and these projects more than any other. So with this project, again, I set up some guidelines. I would use the 3/4 inch plywood, CNC routed like before. This would be a project that used projection as its primary purpose other than shelter, and I also wanted to use the polygal again, especially after some testing in the lab when I saw how beautiful the projections were and the material's ability to take it from one side to the next. Finally, with this project, I knew I was going to embrace digital fabrication in the way in which the machine wanted to work, more specifically the CNC router. That's also part of the mechanical sound of the voiceover in this film. iMovie is no different from the CNC router in some ways. Occasionally it just does what it wants, and you have to work around it. My first real locking in on this project actually came after a lecture by Anthony Lofson on rotated geometries in Frank Lloyd Wright's plans. There was a logic to it that made sense to me at that point, and it was something that I wanted to springboard off of. By the end of the night, I knew that the screen would be 4x7 to accommodate a widescreen projection. In section, I wanted it to be just large enough to be occupied by 5 people, one for each of the bays. And I also knew that the shape and the slope of the back would be derived by the ideal angles for reclining. And that was that. If what resulted at the end of the night looked frighteningly like a section from Taliesin West, I was okay with that. The rest of what you may see on the wall or in the presentation is talking about difficulties I had with the CNC breakdown of the lost bits, a car accident that week, making sure the structure was balanced, that the beams were sized correctly, that they were cut in a way that was efficient, and that I got the whole thing there on time and in one piece. Big whoops on that one. What isn't left on the wall, in my case, is what's left out on the loggia. There sits my resolution, the location where all the lessons of this semester for me culminated. It's the full-scale realization of an idea that began as nothing more than a drawing in a sketchbook. It's the memory of those gratifying moments that made everything we've been through, working through, really worthwhile. It's where we started, it's what we did, and finally, it's where we are now.